Are you interested in growing and scaling your business? Are you tired of having to cobble together a bunch of different tools and manual processes just to serve your clients, putting obstacles in your way to adding new revenue streams? Imagine if you could utilize a single platform for much of your client sales or marketing processes, even automate a lot of that. Would that help you streamline your agency and grow your bottom line? That's what we're covering in today's episode of The Martech Show.
The past is gone. Now's the future.
This is The Martech Show, exploring today's marketing technology solutions. Social media, artificial intelligence, augmented reality,
Now's the future.
content, SEO, email, analytics, listening, advertising, and more. I'm your host, Mike Alton, and I'm joined by agency owner and technology futurist Robin Diamond. Each episode explores the latest developments in marketing technology and shares new solutions and innovative approaches that you need to know about to grow your business today. And now, the rest of today's episode. Welcome back to the Martech Show, where Robin and I get to dish on what's shiny and new in the Martech space, and then do a deep dive into a specific platform or solution that can help you in your business. Hey, Robin, how are you doing?
Fantastic. Super excited on this Wednesday.
Yeah, great. Well, one bit of interesting news comes to us via Bloomberg. In Mark Gurman's newsletter, he talks about the potential forthcoming product innovations from Apple and points to patents and internal design groups to suggest that we're not far from seeing an Apple Ring. And I'm going to put the link to that in the comments right now. There we go. So, how would that impact Martech? Well, Mark writes that such a device could serve as a low-cost way to gather key health data without the need to wear a full-blown watch like this one. Samsung Electronics Company and Aura Health have both shown this notion is feasible. They've got rings. Samsung's preparing to launch its first ring later this year, and Aura's got that ring that they've turned into a concept that's big enough that businesses are mulling an initial public offering. That's hard to say. Robin, connect the dots for us. How would people use such a device in MarTech?
I mean, how excited are you that Apple's about to put a ring on it, right? Like, come on. I'm excited. And I think this comes after the following news. You know, I know we were talking about this, Mike, but they did the headset, the Apple Vision Pro. It got some great reviews, some bad ones, but think about it. If you have tried the Apple Vision headset, which we have one, when you try it on, there's that clicking and eye matching. Now, all of a sudden, they put that ring on there. We're going to have better usability. They're going to have better data. And now they're about to merge it. So everything that my eyes are seeing and it accelerates my heart rate, what does it show you on your ring? I mean, you're talking about we are combination all these worlds. So now you can see what ads excite somebody, what it does to their heart rate. How does it accelerate? When you talk about the merging of MarTech, like marketing and technology together, I think Apple, well done.
So cool. So I would liken it to Nielsen data for television shows. For those of you watching, not sure what I'm referring to, this is particularly true back in the cable era, where networks would air a television show, and Nielsen, the company, would have people in their homes reporting on how they're reacting to specific moments of every particular show. So it wasn't just did they watch a show or not, but were they resonating with particular parts? Politicians would use this extensively during State of the Union addresses and debates. They'd want to know, were the people watching resonating with certain aspects? And now apparently we might get that with advertising and content and anything else that you might consume using another wearable device like the glasses, and see how that's affecting your heart rate. How fascinating.
I mean, it's super exciting. I love that Autumn says I'm scared and excited. Yeah, we're all scared and excited, Autumn. But what they did is launch the iPhone 15. If you've been shooting content and you haven't, there is actually a little mask and you can shoot it for the Apple Vision Pro. Now you're adding a ring to this, and just the data sharing between that. Talk about a marketer's dream. This is my dream. I don't know. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But now to be able to see how things excite people, I think we're going into a full immersive experience where marketing and technology are no longer split at all. And I mean, that's the whole substance of our show is they're not split. They're one and the same.
100%, 100%. Now, as an agency owner, Robin, you know just how much of a challenge it is to onboard new account reps for your business. You need to introduce them to your agency's internal practices and culture, get them up to speed on the client accounts you want them to manage. Oh, and train them on a bajillion different tools. And for that reason alone, platforms that offer agencies a variety of features and functions all within a single dashboard are a lifesaver. But it's more than that. Account reps are saving time by automating and streamlining tasks. They're able to devote more time to the tasks that clients really need and value, like being creative or thinking strategically about their marketing needs or figuring out how they might use an Apple 15 to shoot that kind of content, right? So, what kinds of features and functions are we really talking about here? Well, that's exactly what Chase Buckner is going to talk to us about. After Chase built a full service agency from scratch that grew to over 7 figures in ARR, he decided to work with and help more marketing agencies, and is doing that now with the team at HighLevel, where he's the director of product marketing. For over 4 years, he's helped educate agencies on everything that HighLevel can do for them to help them grow and scale their business. Hey, Chase, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So glad that you're here. And first, I want to make sure that everybody understands who you are and what you do. So tell us about your role at HighLevel and what HighLevel does for marketing agencies and clients.
Sure. So we've grown pretty quickly over the past 5 years. And so I've worn several hats and had many different titles, but my latest one is director of product marketing. So it's my team's job to basically take what our product teams create, and we roll out new features pretty quickly. So every week there's at least a dozen new features or upgrades that roll out. And so it's our job to make sure that our customers are aware of what's new, what they can do, what changed. And so that's where we spend our time in the world of product marketing. But I also get to do fun things like this and just talk about the product. Again, I am a former, actually failed agency owner, but successful agency COO. And so I've been on the other side of the fence. I've sat right where our customers sit. And so I get to be the voice of the customer in a lot of the internal meetings, and then come talk to agencies on shows like this.
Terrific.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far.
Chase, we know that you have 5 services at HighLevel that empowers agencies like myself. I love that backstory. But before we get into those, can we talk about some of the automations for a moment? And what are the general benefits for an agency like myself, or the ones that are listening, and how can they implement these?
Yeah, for sure. So HighLevel is like a marketer's toolkit, right? So we try to build all the features that you would need to do like full stack marketing, right? So build forms that go into landing pages, CRM, custom fields, all that kind of stuff. And one of the most powerful things that you can do with HighLevel is to use automation for new leads. So if you're running Facebook ads, like most agencies do, probably lead ads, you can basically integrate your lead ad form directly with HighLevel. So anybody who fills out a lead ad immediately becomes a contact in the system. And then we can automate things like emails, text messages. We can even do a couple of cool things that I'll say in a second. But what's most important is to understand the time frame. So there was a really a big study by a guy who was a professor at MIT who, long story short, proved that the most important thing when it comes to converting leads is time. There's basically a 5-minute window where if you can engage the lead within 5 minutes, your odds of closing the lead jump up drastically. And if you miss that 5-minute window, the odds of ever closing that lead fall off a cliff. And so when we look at what happens in our clients' businesses every day, the odds of them engaging every lead within 5 minutes of it being created is basically zero. And that creates this classic moment of, I know I've been there, where you hop on that first call with a client at the end of month 1, you've generated a ton of leads on Facebook at a really good cost. And the client's like, what are you talking about? These leads stink. Nobody has showed up. Nobody's bought anything. And that's because clients are used to referrals, not leads off the internet, where we have a 5-minute window to engage them. And so how do we fix it? We leverage automation. So a new lead comes in, of course, we're going to send an email. We all do that, right? But we can also send text messages, which have much higher open rates and reply rates. And then we can do things like, we have this automation called the Fast 5, where if the lead doesn't reply within 2 minutes to that text message, we actually call the client. And when they answer, it'll play a whisper message that you can control. And it'll basically say, hey, you have a new lead. The lead's name is Bob Smith. Press a key to connect with Bob. And if they do that, the system calls the lead. And if the lead answers, we bridge the call. So we're literally trying to put clients on the phone with their leads 2 minutes after the lead was created, if the lead hasn't already replied to the text message. And if that doesn't work, we can do things like ringless voicemail, and then we can just extend the nurture on and on. But yeah, as soon as you do that, you see your lead to booking, your lead to conversion rate skyrocket, because again, it's just math. You've got to engage them within the first 5 minutes. And that's just a real challenge for humans. But for robots, it's pretty easy.
Well, and as an agency perspective, that sounds amazing. As the lead's perspective, I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm getting an email, an SMS message, and a phone call all within 5 minutes. That sounds risky to me. Is it possible to have too much automation or to automate the wrong things?
I mean, again, it's all fully customizable, right? But in our experience, definitely not. Because if you're claiming an offer, that 5 minutes is where you're in the mind state of that, right? And what I'm sure, we can all relate to is you engage a lead, you reach out maybe a day or two later, right? Because you just couldn't get to it or whatever. And they can't even remember what the heck the thing was that they claimed, right? And that's because too much time has gone by. And so, again, this study, the MIT professor, I can never remember his name, he really proved that the magic happens within those first 5 minutes. So you've got to do everything that you can. And also, I would remember that the automation shuts itself down, right? So if you reply, you're not going to get the rest of it. If you take the next step and book or whatever it may be in the flow, you're not going to get the rest of the automations and stuff. So yeah, you want to be cognizant of that, but I would say no, you need to leverage it, take every shot you can to get that lead to engage. And that doesn't mean spammy stuff. I like to teach people your first text message should be something lighthearted and easy to answer, right? So if I'm working with a dentist and they're running like a free teeth whitening campaign, my first text is going to be, hey, Chase, thanks for claiming our free teeth whitening voucher. Have you ever had your teeth whitened before? Something like that, where it just sparks a conversation. And as soon as you get that conversation in motion, then the math is on your side. You're going to have a way better chance of getting that lead to actually pay for a cleaning or whatever it is they need to do in order to redeem the promotion.
That makes a lot of sense. So my initial vision in my mind was a scene from West Wing where Charlie, the new intern for the president, they needed to call him and they said, let's go ahead and give him the full treatment, where they called him, they paged him, they had his supervisor knocking on his door, everything they could to wake him up. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning. So he's freaking out. It's not like that, folks. It's, you do a couple things. And as soon as somebody says, yes, I want to have that conversation, we cut it off. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking with Chase Buckner about marketing automation and agency dashboards. Here to talk to us about how they're using AgoraPulse's dashboard to manage over 150 accounts is our friends at Stony Creek.
I love social media. I love what we do. I love, one of my sayings is that I feel like we're changing the world one post at a time. And the positivity, it's just, who I am. Currently, we are growing leaps and bounds. We just in the last couple of years have expanded our office. We're getting ready to expand again. We manage over 150 accounts just on AgoraPulse. So it has to be user-friendly for me and everyone that works with it, and it has to be something that I know that I can rely on, that I can trust. Like I said, and the biggest feature that we have is just the dashboard, that it is so easy to use and that anybody can use it. And actually, one of the reasons why I switched from the company that I had used before was that the lack thereof of customer service. It's definitely been, if not the best, one of the best companies to deal with as far as customer service.
And we're back. Robin, you're up.
Chase, I love the fact that you said time kills all deals, or like it can actually kill a deal if you wait too long. And I think that's so powerful. So can you tell us what the first automation is in this marketing service?
So HighLevel all-in-one marketer's toolkit, right? Lots of folks come in because they're like, I heard I can get all my tools in one place, and yep, they're there for you. But then people discover, wait a minute, you can white label HighLevel, which means I can resell it as my own software under my own agency's brand. And that has really fueled a lot of our growth, because what it does is it enables an agency to open up a software as a service arm to the business. And, we've seen this. CallRail put out a report last year that basically said the churn rate of typical agency services, traditional services like SEO, PPC, reputation management, these types of things have really high churn rates, whereas software is really low. And so we kind of have this suite within the suite of 5 tools that we really recommend every agency install for their clients and sell as their own software because they're automated, but they're so powerful. So it creates a SaaS utility bill for an agency. And what we often see is, wow, this is like stabilized my agency because my SEO, let's say, service churn is like this every month. Sometimes we get a bunch of clients and then we lose a bunch, and it's really hard to forecast. Whereas when you start selling SaaS, it starts growing really steadily. And so the first one is just the SMS chat widget. And this is really just enabling a business to communicate via text messaging. If you're like me, your blood pressure actually jumps up when you see somebody's calling you, right? We don't want to talk on the phone anymore. We just want to text. And most businesses have not enabled themselves to communicate with their prospects and customers via text message yet. So the quickest way to do that, we give you a chat widget, you put it on your site, it pops up the little widget, and that message is just a gateway into a text. Like that comes into the system as a text message, and when you reply inside of HighLevel, it goes back to their phone as a text message. So the user doesn't have to sit on the website anymore with live chat waiting for somebody to reply. They can go do whatever they're going to do because the message is going to come back via SMS. So just doing that is the number one easiest way to create an automated service for your agency that your clients will pay for. Because all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're getting all these chats coming in off our site. Where are these leads coming from? It's like, well, yeah, they just were ignoring you before because they didn't want to have to call you. But now that they can chat with you, it's a different story. So that's the first one.
Love it. Wait, will that help my dad text message instead of call?
Possibly. It depends.
He'll do that thing where he'll say in a text, "Call me." What's going on? No, call me.
You gotta love that. I mean, there definitely are some old timers who, would refuse to text and they still want to call, and great for them. But I think we all know that texting is where we want to be.
Yeah. No, but on a serious note, I went through NLP training a couple years ago with a friend, Juheen, and she showed me her business, which I didn't realize at first, and then she showed me the details. It was actually built on HighLevel. She created this entire app called Butter CRM, which I thought was amazing. And then she's like, "Oh, this is HighLevel white labeled." So I thought that was fantastic. That was my first introduction to HighLevel's white labeling service. So that's the first. The SMS is the first thing. What's the second?
So we get text messages coming in, right? We're building our database of contacts with phone numbers that we can communicate via SMS. And when you have SMS capability, you can do all sorts of amazing stuff, like the next one, which we call the missed call text back. So statistically, and I know this is going to sound crazy, small businesses miss more than half of their inbound phone calls every day, which is like, what? But when you actually look into what's happening at businesses, it makes all the sense in the world. The front desk person is busy checking people in. They got to pick up breakfast or lunch. They're taking out the trash. They're escorting people wherever they need to go. And so it all adds up to missed calls. Well, what we can do when we're SMS enabled is just say, hey, anybody who calls in who doesn't get an answer, immediately send them a text message back that says, hey, sorry, Mr. Call, how can we help? Think about the amount of business that saves from that lead or prospect going and calling the next competitor. And so again, it's just this simple automated feature that creates so much value because you're recuperating sales that were going to competitors, automated. And what's really interesting is we see is businesses go, wait a minute, if you can do that, can you just send all of our phone calls into voicemail and then text them back? And yeah, you can. And why would we want to do that? Well, because it's so much easier. Text messaging is asynchronous, right? Like somebody on the keyboard can manage 10, 20 text message conversations at the same time, but they can only do one phone call at a time. And so start sending missed call text backs and you're using text message marketing, you see your staff go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We can do so much more quickly because it's all here in text format. And so that's the number 2, the missed call text back, turning missed calls into text message conversations.
I think this is very lovely. And I have some people who yesterday I called and no one answered. And so I think we could just put this there, but it's so true. I moved on to the next. I was like, okay, great. If you can't answer my call, I'm going to the next business. Like I have
Why wouldn't you? Yep.
I mean, I only have meetings back to back to back. And I'm like, I only have this window of time for someone to answer the phone. And though they might not be my first or second choice, they're the ones that answer the phone. And so it kind of goes with that. And I think that's so important for business owners. Chase, for me personally, it's very in business, but also for my clients to hear that. Okay, so what's the third thing?
So the third one is cool. It's called Google Business Chat. So most business owners I've found don't even know this exists. So in your Google Business profile, you can activate what's called Google Chat. And so when you do that in your Google Business profile listing, like whenever somebody's searching in Google Maps or in Google and it pops up your listing, there's a new button that says chat, and they can chat with a business without actually leaving Google. And so, hate to break it to everyone, but Google doesn't actually want you leaving the search result, right? They want to get you everything that you need without you having to actually jump over to anybody's website. And so when you activate, the other statistic I like to reference is the average business gets over 1,000 visits to their Google Business profile every month. We already know people hate to call. So what do you think is going to happen if all of a sudden they can start chatting with you right from your listing? And so when you connect your Google Business profile to HighLevel, we automatically turn it on for you, and we pull those conversations right into the same stream with all the text messages. So your clients can now answer SMS, and they can also chat with people right off of Google that, again, don't even have to leave Google to have conversations with your business. And so I love to tell the story. The first time I ever set this up for somebody was for a friend of mine who has a restaurant. And they were like, I don't want another thing to manage. This sounds confusing. Now I got to manage Google Chat somewhere. And I was like, no. It all goes in the same place. We turned it on. And within the first hour, the first Google Chat came in and it said, hey, how do I buy a gift certificate? And my friend just laughed and he was like, all right, you got me. Because literally the first one that came through was somebody like, take my money. And so that's exactly what happens when we activate Google Business Chat.
Oh, I love that. And that really resonates with us at Agorapulse, because that's exactly how we approach social media. We've got an inbox, all the different messages that are coming in from all the different social panels, social profiles goes into that one place. It just makes it so much easier. So I totally get that. What's the fourth service?
So the fourth one we actually already talked about, which is the Fast 5 automation, which basically fires every time a new lead comes in. So I'm going to skip right to the fifth one because it's kind of the elephant in the room, which is AI. So we've been busy integrating AI across the platform. So basically anywhere you can write anything, you can use AI to assist you. Anywhere you can create an image, like if you're building an email, you can use AI to generate the image. But we also have full-blown conversation AI. So this means that you can go in there or have your client go in and you can literally just feed it your client's website, and it goes and it learns everything that's on the site. You can feed it Google Docs, or you could just manually create FAQs. And so the bot learns everything about your client's business. And then you can turn it on across any of the channels you want. So you can turn it on the SMS channel, the Google Business Chat channel, Facebook messaging if you want. You can now use WhatsApp in HighLevel. So the conversation AI can be waiting to converse with people who chat in, and it knows everything, right? And so again, going back to that 5-minute window, you could switch it into just live chat mode, put it on your website, and then have the AI converse with people. And so when you think about how many times a day a business answers the same questions over and over, right? A restaurant, you know how many times a day they get asked, do you have gluten-free or vegetarian options, right? Chatbots can handle all of this, and they never sleep, they never get sick, they never take vacation. So it becomes this like employee that every business dreams to have. And now we can spin them up in a couple of minutes and have them ready to have these conversations. And so we're super excited because HighLevel customers, because we can white label, can now go sell AI chatbots as their own software to all of their customers. And from what I've seen, I mean, I don't know how much you guys have played with ChatGPT yet and all of that. I'm just blown away at how fast this has happened. And I can't foresee any business ever saying, I don't want one of these, right? Why wouldn't you want a fully trained employee that, again, never gets sick, never takes vacations, to immediately answer anybody chatting in off your website or off of Google? And so I think we're just, we're at the very beginning of this, but I think it's going to be massive. And so, yeah, if you haven't started playing with conversation AI, I would definitely check it out.
That is huge. And I want to drill down on it just for a second, because I want to make sure I'm clear and everyone watching is clear. When you're training this AI, you're training it specifically and exclusively on your own data and information. Is that right?
Mhm. That's right.
Okay, so you're only feeding it your own website or your own documents. You're not giving it, you're not pulling data from the rest of the web, which means I'm assuming there's no danger that this bot would hallucinate and make up responses that don't exist based
Mm.
on your website's information.
Yeah, I would say again, we are in the, not just us, anybody using AI, like we're all in the very early stages of this, right? And sometimes the bots will spit out like a goofy reply. And because, I always recommend you have the bot introduce itself as a bot. But a lot of businesses want people to think it's a real person because it's that good until it says something goofy, right? And that's why I like to let people know it's a bot. And then you're like, oh man, that was weird. But it's not, from what in my experience, when it does that, it's not something that's so far off base that you would be like, what just happened here? It's like, well, that was a goofy thing to say, right? Like you almost still think it's a human. So
Mm.
again, this is where kind of like prompting and the way that you craft your FAQs can really change conversations and things like that. And again, it's so weird. It's like we're all going to have to get good at prompting, which is something you never thought about, just 6 months ago, probably, or a year ago. But this idea of the way that you tell AI to interact, every word you use is critical and it completely changes the way that your AI learns and talks. And so it's a whole new world out there, but we're already seeing businesses love this thing because it's like it immediately replies, and 98% of the time it does a really good job. And so we're using it for conversations, but we're also using it for like review replies. Businesses that reply to the reviews get preference from Google, and you can use AI to do that. There's all sorts of implications. But the conversation AI to me is the most powerful because again, it can just be there all day and night answering these questions that your staff is wasting time over and over saying the same things, doing oftentimes a better job than the staff member might do, depending on the mood they were in that day,
Totally get that. So that's available right now. What's
Mhm.
coming up the rest of the year? I love asking my product managers this question because I'm
Mm.
putting you on the spot. I know it,
Mhm.
but there's it's just the three of us. No one else is paying attention. Tell us what's coming to high level in the rest of 2024.
Yeah. So the two big things I would say are e-commerce. So we have full-blown e-com and HighLevel now. And so the team is just scaling that up, building all the complicated stuff like taxes and shipping and all that they're working on right now. But we just launched a full-blown POS system on mobile with tap to pay, which is incredible. So like no more dongles and stuff like that. You can run a full whatever coffee shop right off the HighLevel POS system. The other is just going further with AI. So like right now the team is working with voice AI, which a lot of people are really excited for like outbound, which I'm not, right? Because I don't, if I land on somebody's list and now there's AI calling me, trying to sell me, I'm not super excited about that, but a lot of people are, right? Air AI has gotten a lot of buzz. And so if you've ever seen that, like you'll be able to do that stuff in HighLevel. But I'm more excited about the inbound. So I don't know if you've been seeing things like White Castle, right? Their ordering system, when you pull up now, it's AI. You're just talking with somebody. And again, it often does a better job than an employee would do because they're not emotional. They're just listening to what you want and plop it up on the screen. Is that right? And so inbound voice AI, I think, is something pretty exciting that we're working on right now, where basically you could say, hey, anybody who calls in on our number, I want the AI to answer. And then if they want to, if they're asking to speak to a human, redirect it to me. Or if they say they want to speak to sales, then send it to Carl or whatever. But again, AI, it's really, we're so in the early stages of this, but you've already seen the implications of what it can do and what's going to be possible. And so we're really excited to just stay on the forefront of that and build it in anywhere that makes sense.
Love that. I love the idea of an AI order taker who's not going to judge me like the woman at Culver's when I'm turning in 4 free coupons for ice cream.
That's
Right?
exactly what I said. You know what? I would rather talk to AI when I'm ordering because oftentimes I feel like, I did something wrong or whatever. My order's too complicated or this or that. The AI doesn't care. It's just there to do its job.
Yeah, yeah. Robin, any other questions?
Well, I mean, I have a comment because Deb says this too. She's like, not true. We want to know. We want to know if that's a bot. And I think for business
Mm.
owners, and this is what we're encouraging, Chase, is for business owners, name your bot something adorable. Okay. And you want to bring back the nostalgia. Look at Ronald McDonald. Okay. We didn't really all think there was a clown that was living there, but it was easier to talk. Kids loved it. They followed it. There's the
Yep.
Hamburglar. Like, there is something that you could do for your AI bot and make it an adorable, give it a little bit of a personality and let people know that they're talking to Orbit, the cute, like tech guru that's going to help you. Name it something adorable, give it a little bit of a character. And then all of a sudden it seems like they're okay. Because honestly, I don't know about y'all, but there's sometimes when I go to Taco Bell, I'm not going to say anything. I don't want people knowing that I'm ordering those things when I'm supposed to be doing 75 hard. I don't want people to know. So like make it something that you can interact with that makes it fun. And then if it does say something goofy, you don't have to worry about it because you've given it this little cute personality that people automatically start opening up to. And I also think it makes it less scary. And I always talk about my parents who are boomers who are trying to adapt all this technology. If you make something that's easy, that a kid can love and an older person can love, and they can bring it in there, all of a sudden they have this new affinity for your brand. So embrace
100%.
it.
I love that. And it's like, oh, Orbit, you're so goofy.
Yeah.
Exactly when it screws up. And I'm really excited about, like, I think the average person, like our parents and who haven't really interacted with it yet have no idea how good it is. And so like, the AI can conversationally book appointments, right? So in HighLevel, we have online scheduling and it knows the availability of the calendar. And so it can literally converse with you and be like, oh, you're ready to book? Great. I've got tomorrow at 3 or 5 or the next day at 8. Like, which one works for you? And you could say, I'll take the Tuesday at 8, and it knows, and it will go and actually make the booking. So the implications of it are just insane. And, we're just at the very, very beginning of it. So 2024 is going to be wild, not just for AI and HighLevel, but like across the board. And, we're all just kind of strapped in and ready for the ride.
100%.
I love that
It's
because,
scary.
that's something we're going to be talking about every single week on this show. It's going to integrate no matter what.
Mhm. Yep, for better or worse. So let's all make it for the better, I think is my attitude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Chase, you have been fantastic, and this has been such a fun interview. Tell folks where they can go to learn more about you and about HighLevel.
Sure. So I'm most active on Twitter. WC Buckner is my handle if you want to hit me up personally. I'm also chase@gohighlevel.com if you want to shoot me an email. As far as HighLevel, if you want to check it out, we do have a 14-day free trial, and you can sign up for one of those at gohighlevel.com.
Fantastic. That's all that we have for today, friends. Don't forget to join the after show discussion over in our Facebook group, the Social Pulse Community. And that's where you can go to continue this conversation with our guests, with other viewers, and potentially win prizes. Any final thoughts, Robin?
Nope, I'm good. This was amazing. Thank you, Chase.
Awesome.
Thanks for having
Until
me.
next time. Thanks, Chase. Thank you for listening to another episode of the MarTech Show, hosted by Robin Diamond and Mike Alton, powered by AgoraPulse, the #1 rated social media management solution, which you can learn more about at agorapulse.com. If you want to make sure you're part of our audience during live weekly broadcasts, take a look at our calendar at agorapulse.com/calendar, or click the subscribe button in your email once you register for any of these events. Is there a particular tool or topic you'd like to see us talk about? Or perhaps you think your solution should be featured? Email me at mike@agorapulse.com.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Robbie Samuels hosts the On the Schmooze podcast. Robbie, tell listeners what to expect from the show.
Since 2015, I've interviewed entrepreneurs who overcame challenges to achieve success in their field or industry. Tune in to On the Schmooze to listen as I ask deep questions to elicit untold stories about leadership and networking.
And where can people subscribe?
Find the show at ontheschmooze.com or on marketingpodcast.net, or just search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard them. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.